Welcome to episode 3 of the Improve Yourself podcast. Today I have a very special guest. He is actually a former baseball coach and teacher. He was actually my baseball coach and teacher for many years, and he is so dedicated to his life's work as far as impacting other people and living out his Christian faith. Today's special guest is Coach Tim Lucht. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm pretty good, I guess.
All right. So, as you know, as I kind of explained, this podcast or show channel, usually on YouTube, is about how to improve yourself. And one of the things I do to start off the conversation is I present a word to you, and I just want you to tell me what that word means to you or how it makes you feel. Okay?
Got it.
All right. So today's word is balance. What does that word mean to you?
Balance I guess, means that you're not all gun ho in one direction or the other. With your life, you have a balance between maybe your work life or your home life or whatever whatever your situation is. That there's a balance that you're not 100% on the teeter totter. Doesn't work well when you're one person's 100 pounds, the other one's 5. It just doesn't work very well. It's not much fun. So balance is when you can control your life a little bit in whatever circumstance you're in or whatever hat you're wearing at the moment. Then you're able to be the same person.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are always kind of trying to find balance in our lives, for sure. What are some ways that you've found that work for you as far as finding balance in your life?
Well, you've already mentioned it. I think the most important thing is your faith in Christ, and your purpose is finding what you're supposed to be doing in life, and just being able to kind of walk out that faith in whatever you're doing, whether it's just being at home or I'm not currently working. I'm helping my mom out and just doing some things around here. Just I balance has to do with just being consistent of who you are, being yourself, not trying to be somebody else.
Yeah, for sure. So we've every single episode we've done. Now this is only the episode 3. We've presented a word and we kind of talk about what that word means to us. Balance, I think, has a very positive connotation to it. Like usually when you hear the word balance, you think of it in a positive way. Um, is there a way you can think of that you can think of balance in a negative way?
Mm. Well, if you have a lack of balance, you're going to fall.
Right.
So obviously balance is important. Um, so as far as balance being negative, I think only if you don't have if they don't have a sense of I don't know, if balance isn't there, if there's a lack of balance, then yeah, obviously I think what comes to my mind is balance is somebody on a gymnast on one of those walk boards. I don't know the proper term right now, but they're on the balance beam, I guess is what it might be called.
Mm-hmm.
If they lose their balance, you can literally see them wobble or swing their arms, and something's wrong, and they're about ready to lose their balance. And obviously in gymnastics, that's a very important thing to have balance. So I think sometimes in life, if I'm looking at myself being honest, there are times when things aren't going my way and I might wobble a little bit and I need to get back in the center. So balance, I might show signs of being frustrated or complaining or things like that. That'd be kind of a sign of losing balance and need to get back the sense of balance, like being on in the middle where I need to be.
I guess one way I think about it is it possible to be too balanced? Or maybe maybe that's not really it. Maybe balance is always a positive word. Like if you're balanced, it's always positive. But I guess maybe what if you're always too worried about maintaining that balance? Could that be a negative? Like you're
Yeah,
too
you just said
scared to.
that made me think if you're too balanced, you're not going to take any risk.
Exactly. That's kind of
So
where. Yeah.
you're going to if there's for example, if I tried to be in a on a gymnastics team and they said, okay, today you're doing balance beam or you're walking, I'd just be one foot in the other and I'd be straight and I'd jump off and say, okay, I'm done. I
Hmm.
wouldn't do any flips. I wouldn't do anything at all. It's very point worthy, I guess, in gymnastics. They say, well, that was a waste of time
Right.
because he
Right.
took no risk, didn't do a flip, didn't do whatever the proper terms are. The dismount was just a jump. It wasn't a flip or a back mount or anything. It was just very, very cautious, and that's kind of no risk involved at all. Just like, okay, I didn't make any mistakes, but you didn't do anything either.
Yeah, perfect. And actually, I'm so glad you brought up the gymnast analogy because I was trying to think of a good one for this show because balance was my theme. And what I was kind of thinking of is as far as us taking risks and maybe putting us in situations where we might not be balanced and not being scared of losing our balance was I was thinking like in football, right? If you never blitz, if you never take that chance where you don't cover a receiver, they're going to just slowly beat you, right? Eventually, you got to take a chance and maybe do a blitz and be a little bit more aggressive. But I love the gymnast analogy too, where you kind of have to put yourself out there. If you're going to win a competition as a gymnast, you can't just do the safe moves that you do all the time. You kind of have to push yourself and risk falling. Um, and then going back to life, how can we apply that to life? We've got to do things that sometimes make us uncomfortable to help others to pursue our faith and do things that maybe others, you know, kind of might see as kind of risky to improve ourselves.
Absolutely.
So going forward from there, have you ever done something that kind of uh, improved you, but was uncomfortable? That was a stressor, but in the end, it improved you. Can you think of a example of that?
Well, I think everyone has those stages in life where they have to make the decision, what are you going to do next? Usually when we grow up, we're in elementary, we're shielded and we have obvious steps that we take, going up to high school, and then life changes and you have to start making some decisions on which direction you're going to go. So I guess obviously whether to go to college or not, and which one, and things like that. Just obviously for me, there's some recent ones and some that are years and years ago, and they all make a big difference in the direction you go. Because if you want me to start off with college, I just stayed home locally and went to a small school, and then just being transparent, I felt like there was a time around when I was 21 or so that the college that I went to was only a 2-year school, so I had to go somewhere else. I, at that time, was presented the opportunity to go to a Christian school in Missouri and college, and didn't really want to move away from home, the comfort of being in Iowa where I grew up, but I moved to Springfield, Missouri, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. It really challenged me and directed me in my faith, and exactly what I needed at that time was to be able to go and to be alone and to decide which direction in life I was going to go. That's
Yeah,
kind of
one of
vague,
one of the
but
people.
it's true.
Yeah, one of the people that has inspired me in the last couple years said, something to if it to the effect too, if there's no stress, and this is more like an exercise analogy too, but if it's not stressing your body out a little bit, it's not really improving you. It's not kind of iron sharpening iron. And so you kind of had to get out of the nest, get somewhere like Springfield, be by yourself, and life's experiences kind of molded you, and God put you where you needed to be.
Yes, absolutely. That was the right place at the right time for me. And there's the thing that's interesting about that too is that there are several, even hundreds, even thousands of people that go even to the same campus at the same time, and not everyone comes out with the same outcome. Some people, for whatever reason, it's not the right place at the right time. So I think the word that comes to me right now is just being open. Just had a sermon I heard this morning from Inglewood, and that was about being open. Open to the direction that God wants to move you into, open to the changes and the challenges that are ahead, and to be able to have faith and just keep walking.
Yeah, I think another word that I might use for one of my future shows is flexibility or flexible, and I think that goes hand in hand with balance. Being flexible and ready to adjust to any life's changes that God might lead you in, and being able to hear that path, I think, is where you're kind of going as far as that's concerned on a daily basis. Being ready.
Absolutely.
So,
yes.
Jumping off of that, as you know, one of our priorities of the show is we're a bunch of average guys that still need a lot of improvement. The guests that I get on this show are not going to be people that are self-help, people that are writing self-help books that are already got this all figured out. Every person on this show is still improving, and I think even, obviously self-help gurus still need to improve themselves. But what are some things you're trying to do on a daily basis to improve yourself? Is there anything you're trying to do?
Well, obviously, prayer is a big important thing. Trying to, find strength through prayer and through the Word of God. Obviously, those are things that are a must for me. They have to be there, or else it's so easy to get off on my own tangents of fears and whatever, and getting off balance. Mm-hmm. So prayer and personal time devotion, and then not just stuff that in the corner and say, okay, whatever. How do I live that out? How do I walk it out? How does it affect the way I treat other people, or how I respond and interact with other people too? So how do I encourage others? You've already said, as iron sharpens iron. So how do I sharpen others and allow them to sharpen me?
Yeah, and I think one way I've worded that before, as far as what I do daily, is I have a reminder that kind of tells me to go ahead and take that time away because life gets so busy. Sometimes you forget about it. You prioritize, especially since I have 3 kids. I'm prioritizing other things and not taking the quiet time to allow God to speak to me or game plan my life a little bit. So one of the things that I have done to get that time, the time to pray, the time to kind of game plan your life and make sure that you're ready for life's adventures, is a reminder to take that time.
Yeah, it's a discipline like anything. Mm-hmm. It has to be. It can be a habit, and it can just go through the motions, and that doesn't really help. But it's the discipline of finding ways to keep that fresh and alive. And
yeah, I actually that is one of my New Year's resolutions as far as that's concerned, because I did fall into that trap where it was a habit a little bit, and I wasn't really reflecting on it. Like I would just get through the devotion really quick, not really think about it, not really apply it, not really allow God to speak to me. I was just doing it because, well, this will be good for me, and just getting it done and over with, right? So you actually have to apply it and actually use the information that you get from your prayer and your devotion and reading the Bible. You have to actually use the information that you get from those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, is there any other besides that little things that daily habits or things that you try to do to improve yourself?
Well, I think physical activity and exercise, whatever level you're able to do.
Mm-hmm.
I like to ride a bike as much as possible, which is a little less strenuous.
Perfect.
Um, but riding a bike, I try to ride a bike at least 5 miles a day.
All right. So that probably
And
takes you about
other
30
exercise,
minutes.
yeah, and it's also a good time to get that time to be able to think and pray and
Mm-hmm.
just get ideas and flush some bad ideas away and try to get some balance or positivity or whatever back.
Yeah. So cycling is a great activity, especially if you're trying to improve your cardiovascular health without putting a lot of strain on your joints. And as you get older, that gets more and more important to try to prevent strain on your joints and everything. So cycling is so good. One of the things I've been doing, another shout out to Apple Fitness, is Apple Fitness has cycling workouts where you're led by a trainer and they kind of push you kind of out of your comfort zone to get in better shape. And those have been really good for me. I do those maybe once or twice a week. But if any of our listeners wants to check that out, Apple Fitness does have some cycling workouts. And then on the lines of what I think Coach Luke here does more is a very healthy way to get out in nature, a 30-minute bike ride where you get to see all God's beauty and also get to think of more of a relaxed cycling event. Both are exercise and both are so important for your mind and so important for your body as far as preserving what God has given us.
Yes, absolutely. Well, currently, I don't know if you knew this, but I'm probably you did. I'm in Arizona, so today's not such a nice day, but it's rainy and cool. But most of the time, you're able to go out and they have bike trails out in the
Mm-hmm.
mountains, near the mountains, and it's just to see something as grand as a mountain and be inspired by different views and things like that. And it just wherever you happen to live, there's always something to be seen that's new and different, and that kind of helps too as well, just to be able to put even yourself in the right perspective of who you are and that you're a part of something bigger than yourself, no matter who you are or where you are.
Yeah, definitely. When you think about nature and everything, those we think about what what is improving ourselves really mean, and when you take the time to see the beautiful works that we see in nature, the beautiful things that God has made, preserving those things and making it a community that more and more people can enjoy is part of probably God's plan for us on this earth. To make sure as many people are loved and are cared about as possible, and sharing this world that He has created for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
So
I know you're a big sports fan, and we always make a lot of sports parallels in this show. I think most of the people on this show have always been a fan of a certain team, and it hasn't always been the Chiefs. I'm a big Chiefs fan. I'm wearing my Chiefs shirt right now, as anyone that's actually watching the show can see. I've got my Chiefs stuff in the back. But there is a team that you're a fan of, at college actually. Go ahead and explain when that started and um, how that came about.
well, obviously, the Chiefs are I'm a big fan of them. The Royals, having lived in Kansas City for nearly 40 years. But I grew up in Iowa and started, even when I was in kindergarten, going to Iowa State football games. My dad was a high school official of both basketball and football, and he used to work the Big Big Eight games. They used to have back then. They had JV or freshman games, and he would work those games. And he was approached once to be in charge of the chain crew at Iowa State back in the early 60s. So that's quite a while ago now.
Mm-hmm.
But at first he was like hesitant, like, why would I want to do that and be committed every Saturday to go to there and do the games? But he was convinced to go ahead and do it, and it turned out that he enjoyed it, and he had a crew of officials that he worked with in the Des Moines area that were part of the crew, and we would just go to the games, and we would celebrate on Saturdays just as a family. It just became part of our life, and it has been and it still is a part of our fall, just going to Cyclone games. And as the years went by, my brother Dan has taken over the crew, and I'm part of that crew, and so we're just enjoying being a part of Cyclone football. And it's been a couple of generations now that we're faithful to the job, so we're just thankful for the opportunity. I know, Zach, that when you were in probably either junior high or whatever, were able to go to a game or two, and it was just a lot of fun to be able to go and enjoy that experience.
Yeah, I was, and you did a perfect job leading into the sport parallel that I wanted to get from this Iowa State journey for you. And one of the recent devotionals I read was talking about a food service person who tended to everybody's tables with such diligence, with such um, accuracy. He worked so hard, and he didn't ask for any props or glory for it. And it talks about in Thessalonians how God kind of wants us to do our jobs and do them diligently, and even if it's a small job, God still wants us to do that job and not seek out praises, but enjoy our jobs that we're given in this life. And you were you were given a job for us that a lot of us now we look back at it and it's so cool and it's so awesome that you're a linesman for a major university. But in the small things, it was just dutiful, faithful diligence over years and years and years of doing it. And I think you don't ask for any props for doing it. You just do it, and it's part of who you are now.
Yeah.
And
I think as you were saying that, the word that came to me and the motivation behind it is being thankful.
mm-hmm.
Thankful for what God has done for you. And I think a person with a servant's heart, or a person who just kind of quietly serves other people,
Mm-hmm.
recognizes all that God has done for you. And how can you not turn that around and try to be a blessing to others if God's blessed you? So how can you not? It's just something that is just a natural response. It's not something that you have to force yourself to do. It's just you're thankful. Thankful,
and
Lord, for what you've been able to, what you've given me, the gift of salvation, the gift of life, the gift of so much blessings, that it's just, you just look for ways to say to God in a tangible way, just thank you.
Yeah, and for our listeners there too, to kind of make it apply to maybe your life is, even if you're doing a small job that doesn't feel very important to you, um, and maybe it's not fun, maybe it's not something that you enjoy. I mean, not everybody gets called to do the lines crew at Iowa State. I've been called to prep people for surgery. Some people are called to be the janitor at the hospital or be the food service person at a school. Even if your job seems really small, if you do it for the glory of God, it's just as big as any other job. And that's kind of the point of it is we're all average people here, and we're trying to improve ourselves and enjoy our lives more, do little things that me and Coach have talked about today, of how to stay balanced, stay flexible, but also be diligent in our day-to-day lives and do the jobs that God gives us for our community. So as we wrap up here, is there anything else you want to add to that, Coach?
I guess just thank you for the opportunity to spend some time talking to you and sharing. And again, I think when you were saying that, it just reminded me that it isn't so much what the spotlight's on you or not. It's the attitude of the heart. God, when she saw the widow give 2 little mites, and it was more than the large monetary amount that somebody else gave because of her heart. So whatever you're doing, do it all unto the Lord, and that is what God looks at. He looks at the heart. He doesn't look at what other people look at the outside, but God looks at the heart. So as long as we can keep our heart in check and in line and balance, then that's where we need to be.
Yep. All right. And then also, if God presents you with a risk, that don't be scared to make the jump, because if you can remain faithful to Him, He'll keep you balanced. And even though it's scary and you might think you're going to lose your balance, sometimes in this life you do have to take risks. You can't be scared. And so, all right. Well, I think it's been a great show, Coach, and I hope that maybe these words will speak to someone, maybe put a smile on someone's face, make their muscles flex a little bit more as they get through their workouts, as they try to improve themselves, and hopefully make a difference. Enjoy the rest of your day, and enjoy being in Phoenix, where you got better, or Arizona, where you got a little bit better weather than we got here.
Most of the time, not today.
All righty. All right. Well, talk to you later.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye.